Welcome to Legal Limelight, where we spotlight key legal industry revolutionaries who are changing the game or entrepreneurs who are using intellectual property to create wealth and build the life of their dreams. I'm really excited for today's guest. He is a friend, client, and legal visionary, Daniel Steinberg. Hey, Daniel, and thank you. We're a little bit late today. It's one of those days of the holiday that I just lose track of time.
All
Okay,
right,
I
is
just
this
accepted.
working? All right, did you tell everyone though that the reason we were late is your fault, not mine, right? Okay, we've
Oh
confirmed
yeah,
that.
oh yeah. It's a good thing you have
Yes,
my
exactly.
cell phone.
There it is. Work with a lawyer that you have their cell phone that actually picks up the phone. Yeah,
And that
exactly.
you could
Good
text.
stuff.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I think this is the first time that actually, I love this. Like, right? Like we've, been communicating for how long? And like, this is the first time we've
Never
met
gone
face to
face to
face via
face, phone
video.
calls and emails only. I don't think we've ever even been on a Zoom. Um, and the only other audio platform we ever talked on was Clubhouse. So here we are. I've never even done an Instagram live, so you're my first.
Oh my gosh. It's really fun and conversational. And like, see, we already have 10 people on here. It's great. Hi guys. They're fun. So let's get right into it. I want to like Daniel, I preface this by saying that like on this show I bring in like legal revolutionaries who are changing the game, and you're in your space specifically. You come from the legal tech background, and being the entrepreneur that you were born to be, decided to venture out and create this amazing new product to revolutionize the way that lawyers do business. So tell us a little bit about the
Yeah,
company,
it's
about
been a
LawBrokr.
whirlwind of a journey. We've sort of hit our 1 year mark a couple months ago since we went live into production. But my background comes from professional services and accounting and bleeds through to my previous role before this was at Clio, running app partnerships and channel partnerships and working with sort of lawyers and professionals all throughout North America and internationally. And when I started to venture out to LawBrokr, really the goal was to build this recommendation and matching platform to help lawyers and consumers interact and connect at some of the most vulnerable times of their moments and integral moments that matter for a consumer, by leveraging and mimicking similar consumer behavior markets to that of things of goods and services that we consume in everyday lives. And we've since actually shifted that business to go 100% B2B, sell direct to lawyers, and really provide lawyers with better client-facing workflows. So what we are providing law firms is the opportunity to understand their prospective clients and buyers before they pick up the phone, and really capture better, more qualified upfront data in a more technologically advanced way than the traditional approach. So for any lawyer listening on the phone here or on Instagram or on the recording, we sort of sit one before the intake. And really our platform is to help mirror the consumer behavior of online shoppability through things like Shopify e-commerce stores and modern workflow builders. So we're a bridge between all of that.
So, and when we first started when I first started working with you, it was a different direction. So, what is it now about like being in this space that made you realize that there's a
Yeah,
need for
I
this
think,
specific use?
before when we first started this company and when you and I started working together through trademark and IP and all that kind of stuff, what was interesting is we were building a B2C brand, and we were really understanding how consumers shop, interact, and consume legal goods and services. And the reason why we did a slight shift or pivot was because what we recognized was consumers were leveraging our intake flows and our modern workflows and capturing a ton of data. So in the first 3 to 6 months, we were putting thousands of consumers through these modern workflows and providing all this pre-qualification data to law firms. And we realized very quickly that we were obviously having very low friction flows that consumers were okay populating. And the reason why we shifted to understand why we're going after law firms in specific now is because consumers interact with lawyers in a numerous amount of ways, and you would know that better than anyone, but there's really 6 to 7 core functions of how a consumer interacts with law firms. And it's, social media, Google ads, Google My Business, other marketplaces, contact us forms, and predominantly referrals, which meant that LawBrokr really wasn't the only source of truth for how clients can find and interact with law firms. So instead, we decided to take our technology and essentially augment the way that consumers interact no matter where they would find a law firm. And that's why we sort of did that quick shift.
It's amazing. Like, and that's the whole purpose of this, right? Like, you built a business to deliver the service that the clients need. I am obsessed with legal tech. I think that it's changing the game. I know a lot of people kind of like freak out about AI and like, is this going to help or hurt? But I think, with the way that the world's going in, being able to run lean and deliver clients that high quality service while still being, efficient is huge. So for your software, Daniel, who are you servicing? Where are you servicing? Where are
Yeah,
you
so
guys
we're throughout
acting
North
right now?
America. Thank you to you from asset protection and all that good stuff. But yeah, throughout North America right now, really our servicing law firms are anywhere from a solo practitioner upwards to about 30-person law practices. And, as we scale and grow, we might have that sort of enterprise opportunity to do so. But really, we're focused on that client experience. So how do we mimic consumer interactions to make it as simplistic as possible for something that a consumer is not necessarily in tune to, nor do they understand, and bridge that gap to make it simplistic on the consumer side and provide law firms like yours better high quality data to really understand their clients and sell better, right? It's all about conversions. And if you can understand the pains and challenges of the individuals that you're picking up the phone with before you pick up the phone, those first interactions are the moments that matter. And that's what stops people and prevents people from shopping around. So really understanding that client from the beginning of that consumer journey is integral for law firms, and we're trying to bridge that gap.
That's amazing. Okay, and so why, what was it that made
Yeah,
you start your own
I've always had an
business?
entrepreneurial itch, so it was more a matter of when, not if. But for me, my career is pretty prescriptive, and how do I become a really strong operator for whatever I might do? And I got lucky and fell into legal tech, being at Clio. And I kind of fell in love with the legal market. I think unless you're in legal tech or legal in specific, you kind of lose sight that legal governs our society, and every sort of interaction that you have in your day-to-day life has a legal ramification, whether good and or bad. And I think that's pretty powerful. And when you think about LawBrokr, we sit at those most impactful moments of the journey, which is providing access to legal goods and services on the between the consumer and the lawyer themselves. And that's a pretty impactful thing to ultimately drive home when you're building a business and get excited about every single day. I think, for me, the reason I started this company was just based off my understanding within the legal tech space. There's a lot of greenfield, there's a lot of opportunity to bridge this antiquated industry and help law firms really operate a little bit more efficiently and effectively through different technologies. And when I was working on the app ecosystem at Clio, I was specifically working with Google on digitizing a law firm's presence. And what I found there that was this gap on was just because you've digitized yourself, you haven't necessarily diversified the way that you interact with potential clients to find net new business. And I thought that every other industry was doing that. And within the legal space, there are some incredible ways to find new business like Avo, LegalZoom, social media, and so forth. But there weren't necessarily mimicked platforms that operated similarly in other industries that could be verticalized within the legal tech space. So that's why I ultimately ventured out on my own to try and solve that problem and take it from there. So it's been a fun first year for sure.
I love that, and COVID's changed everything. I come from a very traditional law background. I worked in big law, and my current firm too. But the firm I'm at, they're very open to social media, and I think more and more lawyers have been open to that during the pandemic. So have you seen that? Have you seen, talking about bridging that gap, right? Do you feel like it's a very friction, or do you feel like more lawyers are starting to come around and see like, okay, like we have to not just rely on referrals or
Yeah,
high
I think
level
different law
conferences?
firms are starting to think about different ways that they can monetize or build their personal brand and drive new business development activities. I was at an event last week, and two lawyers were on a panel, and they both mentioned that they both threw down their first TikTok yesterday, or the day before that event. And, that's awesome. And I think the reason that's so valuable is because that's how consumers are consuming new information these days. So whether or not you're adopting a lawyer or a legal matter at this moment in time, educating yourself in a market that consumers are typically uneducated in is super important, because it's very hard. I like the dogs in the background. I think you should keep them there. Oh, the cats,
They're
whatever.
my
Yeah,
cats. They're like dogs. I'm like,
that's
okay,
okay.
guys, you never come
Not
around me,
distracting.
and
It's
now
it's
you're
great.
hanging
But I
out.
think what's really important, and it's all about staying relevant. And part of the reason why it's hard to build a brand
Yes.
within the legal space is a consumer doesn't know they need a lawyer until they need a lawyer. So branding yourself and advertising yourself is very hard unless you have millions and millions of dollars. But staying relevant and providing insights and data on really interesting topics, similarly to how you do it, is super valuable in bite-sized content for consumers to recognize and understand. So I think people have started to do a decent
100.
job at it. I definitely think we're a long ways away in the industry to continuing to do that, but I don't think that's the only mechanism for driving new business. I think it's a great mechanism for driving a personal brand and building that brand within the legal space.
I think it just come like this is like why I do the show, is because I want to spotlight a lot of my network are in big law and like at traditional firms, which is fine and great. Like, but I want to show people, hey, there's this amazing technology and these amazing tools and software like LawBrokr that could actually help you be more efficient and like get back more of your time. Because a lot of us have people have billable hour requirements, or you're balancing admin and the legal work. It's very stressful. Lawyers have crazy like burnout and like mental health statistics for a reason. And I personally like truly believe that there's something with the fact that if we can utilize technology to just take more off of our plate that and focus on the actual legal substance,
Yeah,
that we can live better lives.
it's so true. And I think I'm somewhat lucky. At least I perceive myself as lucky because I'm not a lawyer. And I was actually speaking to John Lindsay, who I think you're connected with from Insight Legal the other day. And he's like, I've never been in an industry where I'm called a not something. And being a non-lawyer within the legal industry is actually advantageous because we're bringing a different mindset and a different perspective, and different angles from different verticals and different industries that we have been and played in the past, that provide lawyers and law firms and administrative assistants a different perspective on how to think about running a business or driving business development activities and things like that. So it's almost looked at as a competitive advantage in my eyes, but I can understand why being a non-lawyer can also be challenging at the same time.
Yeah. I never thought about it that way. Like you're literally in an industry where you're non
Yeah.
something. That's so
But
that's
it
wild.
brings different insight, right? And different value in a different way. So when we think about what we're doing, at least, we're all about conversions, driving new business, being more effective, understanding the client experience. And all those things are replicable across multiple different industries and have been verticalized across the board. And we're just trying to bring that to the legal space. So we're trying to educate and involve better conversations so that law firms can convert better, sell better, and really drive a better client experience no matter where they are and how they do it.
That's awesome. And like I'm really excited. I know we still have to do our demo. We're definitely gonna do it together. I'm really excited to like actually see the platform, like how far you guys have come. But where can people connect with you? And if people want to see what the platform's for, like how can they do a
Yeah,
demo or
so
a call
I'm
with you?
all over LinkedIn, social media, however you want to find me, you can. If you want to email me, Daniel at lawbrokr.com. Francesca can tell you all about LawBrokr's IP, but LAWBROKR. recently trademarked, right? So you can find me there. And if you'd like to take a demo of LawBrokr, you can go to our website. There's book a demo links on there. You can actually self-serve and guide yourself through the storefront builder. We've created a sort of like a 2-minute onboarding experience for law firms. So we take a little bit of a different approach to how to think about a legal tech solution, but really we augment the experience that you have. So no migration with us, no data migration, doc migration, or anything in between. We just act as that front end experience for law firms. So we try and make it as simplistic as possible to adopt.
I love that. I'm really excited. And Daniel, what's the best place for people
Yeah,
to connect with
specifically for me
you?
on LinkedIn is probably the best mechanism. I'm super active there. So you can find me at linkedin.com/in/dsteinberg9. And yeah, feel free to connect. I love chatting with other folks in the industry, people that want to learn more, whether it's LawBrokr or not, and just get insights from other law firms and lawyers in general. So happy to connect with anyone.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And have an amazing holiday
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Happy New Year if I don't get to
Yeah,
see
happy
you.
holidays. Thanks for
And
having me, and
thank,
happy to close out the year with Legal Limelight.
yes, yes. And we're here every Thursday, 1 o'clock Eastern time. We'll see you next week. And everyone have an
Thanks,
amazing
Francesca.
holiday, rest of your week.
Bye.